The Bible describes events and conditions that would mark the conclusion of this system of things, or the end of the world. This time period is also referred to as the last days, the time of the end, or end times. 2 Timothy 3, verse 1 states, "But know this, that in the last days critical times hard to deal with will be here." And Daniel 8:19 tells us, "Then he said, Here I am causing you to know what will happen in the final part of the denunciation, because it is for the appointed time of the end." The following are some outstanding features of the last days, or end times. Prophecies recorded in the Bible. 1. War on a large scale. Matthew 24:7 states, "For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be food shortages, and earthquakes, in one place after another." 2. Famine. Revelation 6, verses 5 and 6 says, "When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, Come. And I saw, and look, a black horse, and the one seated on it had a pair of scales in his hand. I heard what sounded like a voice, in the midst of the four living creatures, say, A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley, for a denarius, and do not harm the olive oil, and the wine." 3. Great earthquakes, pestilences, or epidemics, of terrible diseases. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes, and in one place after another, food shortages and pestilences, and there will be fearful sights, and from heaven, great signs." 4. Increase of crime. Matthew 24:12 says, "Because of the increasing of lawlessness, the love of the greater number will grow cold." 5. Ruining of the earth by mankind. The last part of Revelation 11:18 states, "And to bring to ruin those ruining the earth." 6. A deterioration of people's attitudes, as shown by many who are unthankful, disloyal, not open to any agreement, slanderers, without self-control, fierce, without love of goodness, betrayers, headstrong, puffed up with pride. 2 Timothy 3:1-4. 7. The breakdown of the family. People will have no natural affection, and children, who are disobedient to parents. 2 Timothy 3, verses 2 and 3. 8. Love of God, growing cold in most people, according to Matthew 24, verse 12. 9. Noteworthy displays of religious hypocrisy. 2 Timothy 3, verse 5, says having an appearance of godliness, but proving false to its power, and from these, why turn away? 10. Increased understanding of Bible prophecies, including those related to the last days. Daniel 12, verse 4 states, "As for you, Daniel, keep the word secret, and seal up the book, until the time of the end. Many will rove about, and the true knowledge will become abundant." 11. Global preaching of the good news of the kingdom. Matthew 24, verse 14 says, "And this good news of the kingdom will be preached in all the inhabited earth, for a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come." 12. Widespread apathy, and even ridicule toward the evidence of the approaching end. Matthew 24, verses 37-39 says, "For just as the days of Noah were, so the presence of the Son of Man will be. For as they were in those days, before the flood, eating and drinking, men marrying, and women being given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and they took no note, until the flood came, and swept them all away. So the presence of the Son of Man will be." 13. The simultaneous fulfillment of all these prophecies, not just a few, or even most of them, tells us just as Matthew 24, verse 33 says. "Likewise, also you, when you see all these things, know that he is near at the doors." So, are we living in the last days? Yes. World conditions, as well as Bible chronology, indicate that the last days has already begun. God's kingdom, that we pray for, in the Our Father prayer at Matthew 6, verses 9 and 10 has begun ruling in heaven. And one of its first actions of this kingdom, was to expel Satan the devil, and the other disobedient angels now called demons from heaven, and to restrict their activity to the earth. Revelation 12, verses 7-12 states, "So down the great dragon was hurled, the original serpent, the one called devil, and Satan, who is misleading the entire inhabited earth. He was hurled down to the earth, and his angels were hurled down with him. I heard a loud voice in heaven say, Now have come to pass, the salvation, and the power, and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ, because the accuser of our brothers has been hurled down, who accuses them, day and night before our God. Satan's influence on mankind can be seen in many of the bad attitudes and actions that make these last days critical times hard to deal with. According to 2 Timothy 3, verse 1. Are you convinced we are living in the last days? Comment yes below if you are. Thanks for watching till the end, and remember to subscribe for more questions answered from the Bible.